If you are one of the millions of people who have had their sexuality damaged by the Catholic Church, this audiobook project is for you. In 2016, I published in print a fantasy novel about a pope who turns the Catholic Church into a wildly sensuous fertility religion. Here's why I felt compelled to write a story like this. Hello, my name is Dr. Bob Jansen, a neuropsychologist who likes to make fractal art and write novels. If you're a Kickstarter fan, you may remember when I first published The Supersex Reformation of Pope Galileo in 2016. I made this book available in ebook, Kindle, and paperback, see links below, but since then, without additional explanation or marketing, it has fallen stillborn from the press, as David Hume famously said when he first published a treatise of human nature in 1739. Apparently, in today's less literate world, books need to be produced as audiobooks to reach their full potential, or any potential at all. So, I am now proposing to produce an audiobook version of Galileo and then actively market the hell out of it. Recording an entire audiobook is equivalent to producing an 8-hour radio program. So, to do this properly, I will need pre-sales and donations. So, what is the Pope Galileo story about, and why should you help me make an audiobook out of it? According to a 2015 article in the New Yorker magazine, 32 million Americans who were raised Catholic have left the Church, and it's anybody's guess how many more Americans have left since then, to say nothing of the rest of the world. If all of these ex-Catholics are anything like me, their leaving was mainly due to the Church's attitude towards everything sexual: birth control, abortion, divorce, masturbation, oral anal sex, homosexuality, etc., etc., etc. Recent popes have made some conspicuous sexual accommodations for political effect, but have doubled down on the most controlling rulings, like abortion. As a devout Catholic altar boy, I was brainwashed to vividly imagine the worst terrors of hell as endless punishment for any sexual activity available to me at the time. Not surprisingly, like untold millions of Catholics, decades of my most vigorous sexual activity were ruined this way, stolen by the perverse anti-sexual teachings of the Catholic Church, which may have been instrumental in my never marrying or having a family. At long last, to give some relief, some catharsis and closure, a Freudian would call it reaction formation, I wrote a theological fantasy novel about a renegade pope who radically changes the sexual rules of the Catholic Church, essentially turning it into a wildly sensuous pagan fertility religion. But despite the sexy title, the book is not simply a pornographic free-for-all of pagan sex. Pope Galileo and friends are not just hedonists out to have fun. Indeed, my book is more a theological treatise than a sexy romance novel. It was important to me and to the story that all the so-called radical sex changes be shown to be more natural and moral than the rules currently in place. Therefore, all the dogma underlying the Catholic repression of sex is addressed head-on and argued in detail by the new Pope and his advisors as they make the changes. Sometimes pretending that something has happened is the best one can do. For example, Morris West wrote a best-selling novel and later Anthony Quinn movie called The Shoes of the Fisherman, 1968, which had an imaginary new pope giving away the trillion-dollar wealth of the Church to feed and house the poor. A pretty fiction, theologically concordant with the reported teachings of Jesus, but ludicrously unlikely nevertheless. I'm sure it provided some relief for Catholics who normally must struggle to reconcile the obscene wealth and avarice of their church with the contradictory teachings of its founder. I feel my Galileo book may provide similar vicarious relief for anyone who has been psychosexually wounded by Catholicism. There is a synopsis of the plot of the book below, but You are encouraged to download and read the Kindle edition of Is the Pope Catholic, linked below, to get a better feel for what I'm talking about. It's free if you have Kindle Unlimited subscription, and only $9.95 if not. There are text samples to read on the Amazon site as well. Estimates from online services suggest that to narrate, voice act, my 243-page novel professionally will cost at least $300 per finished hour, 8 finished hours total, or $2,400. The narrating could be done anywhere there are recording facilities, so long as the finished product meets Audible.com audio standards. Of course, interpretive do-overs might occasionally be required if audio is produced off-site. If you or someone you know would consider voice acting my book for shared royalty fees instead of upfront fees, please get in touch with me, rdjansen@rdjansen.com. There are several ways to support the audiobook project. You can order the Kindle or paperback books at the Amazon book sites listed below, or you can donate any amount in project support using PayPal. Be sure to include your name and email address with your donation so I can send you the audiobook files when finished. Donations, pre-sales of $50 or more, will receive updates as the recording is being made, and a copy, of course, of the 8-hour audiobook as soon as it's finished. Here is a synopsis of the plot of the story. Supersex Reformation of Pope Galileo is a story about 2 school girlfriends and 2 Catholic priests in different parts of the world who independently become fed up with their church's miserable attitude towards sex. Of course, the priests are unofficially censured for holding these heretical beliefs. One priest in San Francisco is quarantined by making him chaplain to a foundling home convent of deviant nuns, who he surreptitiously turns into sacred prostitutes to pay expenses. The other priest is a renegade bishop from Amsterdam who gets elected pope because the College of Cardinals' sacramental wine is spiked with ecstasy, MDMA. He chooses the unusual name Galileo I. Soon after the election, the 2 radical priests meet by chance in Rome, and together they spark a new reformation that puts unrestricted, pleasurable sex into Catholicism, much as it was in ancient pagan fertility religions. Sacred prostitute nuns, marrying or openly gay priests, female priests, lay sextants, and many other kinds of sacramental sexual activities are officially inserted into the Catholic liturgy by means of infallible ex cathedra papal encyclicals. Of course, the Catholic world goes crazy, but the attempt to put pleasurable sex into Catholicism turns out to be much more complicated than reformers imagine, and is violently opposed by conservative Vatican forces, including a resurrected version of the Inquisition, which tortures the Pope's Wiccan wife and blows up the Sistine Chapel trying to assassinate Pope Galileo.